Breaking news from around your world on this Tuesday, March 12th, 2019. I'm Larry Rice. Nearly half of the world's Boeing 737 MAX 8 airliners have been grounded, and Europe has closed its airspace to the jets after the deadly weekend crash in Ethiopia. Carriers and nations made the decision over concerns about what led to the crash Sunday that killed 157 people. It was the second crash involving the MAX 8 in less than 6 months. An Indonesian Lion Air flight in October killed 189 people. In both cases, the plane crashed shortly after takeoff. Several nations, including the entire European Union, suspended 737 MAX 8 flights in their airspace. Among them, Britain, Ireland, Poland, Brazil, France, Germany, Ethiopia, Indonesia, Malaysia, Oman, South Africa, Turkey, Singapore, and Australia. Argentine pilots have refused to fly the aircraft. The only U.S. airlines that fly the MAX 8, Southwest and American, continue to fly them after the FAA declared them safe. Both airlines said they are closely watching developments that could affect the planes. Canada said it will also wait for more information before making any decision regarding the new Boeing jet. The FAA said that Boeing's 737 MAX 8 jets are still airworthy, saying it was too early to draw any conclusions connecting the causes of the two crashes. A global team of investigators is looking for parallels. Boeing said it will make a software upgrade for the MAX 8 at the direction of the FAA, but said Tuesday it has full confidence in the safety of the 737 MAX 8 fleet. Hollywood actresses Felicity Huffman and Lori Loughlin were charged along with more than 45 other people Tuesday in a scheme in which wealthy parents bribed college coaches and insiders at testing centers to help get their children into some of the most elite universities in the country. In announcing the $25 million federal bribery case, U.S. Attorney Andrew Lelling said, "These parents are a catalog of wealth and privilege," and called it the biggest college admissions scam ever prosecuted by the U.S. Justice Department. At least 9 athletic coaches and dozens of parents were among those charged. Prosecutors said parents paid an admissions consultant from 2011 through February of this year to bribe coaches and administrators to label their children as recruited athletes, to alter test scores, and to have other people take online classes to boost their children's chances of getting into those schools. Prosecutors allege parents spent anywhere from $200,000 to $6.5 million to guarantee their children's admission. Federal authorities said a total of 46 people were arrested by midday, including Huffman and Loughlin, in an investigation dubbed Operation Varsity Blues. Lelling said, "For every student admitted through fraud, an honest and genuinely talented student was rejected." He said the investigation is continuing and authorities believe other parents were involved. Among the schools targeted in the scheme are Yale, Georgetown, Stanford, USC, Wake Forest, UCLA, and the University of Texas. The schools themselves are not targets of the investigation, and authorities say no students were indicted. British Prime Minister Theresa May battled to win support for her plans for an orderly Brexit on Tuesday, urging skeptical Conservative Party members to vote for her deal or risk not leaving the European Union at all. Hours before a vote on the deal in Parliament, May had failed to win over the main Brexit faction in her own party, while Northern Ireland's Democratic Unionist Party, the DUP, which props up her minority government, said it would vote against her. Nonetheless, May defended her plan as a good deal compared to a series of unattractive alternatives. In a last-ditch bid to save her Brexit plan, days before the United Kingdom is due to leave, May rushed to Strasbourg on Monday to agree to legally binding assurances with European Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker. British lawmakers, who voted January 15th 432 to 202 against May's deal, will vote again Tuesday afternoon. The main pro-Brexit faction in May's party, the European Research Group, said it did not recommend voting for her deal. A hoarse-voiced May told lawmakers in the House of Commons, if this vote is not passed tonight, if this deal is not passed, then Brexit could be lost. The main sticking point is the so-called Irish border backstop, an insurance policy aimed at avoiding controls on the border between the British province of Northern Ireland and EU member Ireland after Brexit. U.S. and Taliban negotiators wrapped up their longest round of consecutive peace talks on Tuesday, with progress made but no agreement on when foreign troops might withdraw. Multiple sources said the 16 days of talks, in which the United States also sought assurances that Taliban insurgents will not use Afghanistan to stage attacks, are expected to resume in late March. Talks ended on a day in which Taliban fighters stepped up pressure on the battlefield, killing 20 Afghan soldiers and capturing another 20 in western Afghanistan. In another province, officials said an airstrike killed both Taliban and civilians. About 14,000 U.S. troops are based in Afghanistan as part of a U.S.-led NATO mission to train, assist, and advise Afghan forces. Some U.S. forces carry out counterterrorism operations. The U.S. has also been pushing the Taliban to agree to a ceasefire and to talk with Afghanistan's government, which the militant group considers a U.S. puppet regime. Islamic State faced imminent defeat in its final enclave on Tuesday as hundreds of jihadist fighters and their families surrendered, and the U.S.-backed Syrian Democratic Forces said the battle was as good as over. The besieged enclave of Baghouz, Syria, is the last shred of territory held by the jihadists who have been driven from roughly one-third of Iraq and Syria over the past 4 years. An SDF official said a large group of Islamic State fighters and their families had surrendered en masse to the SDF, which launched its final attack to capture Baghouz on Sunday, backed by U.S.-led international coalition airstrikes and after weeks of siege. The SDF has been laying siege to Baghouz for weeks, but repeatedly postponed its final assault to allow the evacuation of thousands of civilians, many of them wives and children of Islamic State fighters. It finally resumed the attack on Sunday, backed by the coalition airstrikes. The U.S. said it does not believe any senior Islamic State leaders are in Baghouz, assessing they have gone elsewhere as part of the group's shift toward guerrilla tactics. President Donald Trump proposed a $4.7 trillion budget, the biggest in U.S. history, that would boost defense spending by $750 billion and include $8.6 billion to build barriers on the U.S.-Mexico border. The budget also seeks to cut spending on such social programs as Medicaid, food stamps, and environmental protection. Democrats flatly rejected Trump's plan, saying it would go nowhere. Trump's annual budget proposal to Congress nearly doubles the national debt growth over his 2018 projections. In his 2018 budget proposal, Trump estimated America's national debt would expand from about $14.2 trillion in 2016 to $18.6 trillion in 2027. In his new budget, America's debt would grow by more than $8 trillion to $24 trillion by 2027. Customs agents last month seized 3,200 pounds of cocaine at the port of New York, Newark. Authorities said the February 28th bust was the biggest cocaine shipment found at the ports of New York and New Jersey in 25 years, with an estimated street value of $77 million. The drugs were found in a shipping container on a vessel that arrived from Buenaventura, Colombia. New York City authorities said the seizure suggested a resurging cocaine market after years of dominance by heroin and fentanyl, a powerful synthetic opioid. The State Department announced late Monday that the U.S. will withdraw its remaining diplomatic staff from Venezuela. The U.S. brought home dependents and reduced embassy staff in January. The State Department said the latest decision reflects the deteriorating situation in Venezuela and concern that keeping diplomatic staff in the country constrained U.S. policy. The crisis in Venezuela deepened Monday when an explosion hit a power station in the capital city of Caracas. The incident came after days of nationwide power cuts that opposition leader Juan Guaido, recognized by the U.S. and many other nations as Venezuela's interim leader, has blamed on corruption and mismanagement by embattled President Nicolas Maduro's government. Maduro has accused Guaido and the U.S. of disrupting the power grid with a cyber attack. Honda said on Tuesday it would recall 1.2 million Honda and Acura vehicles in North America to replace defective Takata airbags on the driver's side. The company said it was aware of one injury linked to the defect, which may have caused the airbag to rupture when it was deployed in a crash. Of the 23 total deaths worldwide linked to faulty Takata airbags, 21 have occurred in Honda vehicles. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, NHTSA, said the recall covers 1.1 million U.S. vehicles, and Honda said another 100,000 vehicles are being recalled in Canada, Mexico, and Central America. More than 290 injuries worldwide have been linked to Takata inflators that could explode, spraying metal shrapnel inside cars and trucks. In total, 19 automakers are recalling more than 100 million potentially faulty inflators worldwide. And that's your update for this Tuesday, March 12th, 2019. I'm Larry Rice. Thanks so much for listening, and I hope you have a wonderful day.